Hi everybody, so this is the video for page 76 in your Explorers book. So what we're going to be looking at this week in our Explorers is we're going to be looking at the Seaside Habitat, okay? So the habitat means the place that things live in. So we're going to be looking at the seaside and looking at some creatures that live around the seaside. Now we are so lucky that we live so close to the beach because lots of boys and girls aren't as lucky as us. So we're going to know an awful lot of this already. Okay, so you can imagine some boys and girls in city schools or town schools or in the Midlands where there is no beach nearby, who would not know as much as what we know when we're doing these pages. All right. So what we're looking at this at today is what would you find at the seaside. So you have to look at the picture here first of all, and you have to circle all the things all the animals that you can see at the seaside. So things that you see when you go to the beach, animals that you see when you go to the beach, creatures and animals, okay? All right. There's a question here to have a little think about. What is the big difference between seawater and water found in rivers and lakes? So there's a different type of water found in the ocean and in the rivers and lakes, and the difference is that the water that's in oceans and seas is salt water, and we know this from swimming at the beach. If we get a mouthful of that water, it's very, very, very salty. The water found in rivers and lakes is fresh water, so it doesn't have the salty taste that the beach water has. And then, what do you think sea creatures use their shells for? And we know that they use them for their homes. And later on in the week, I'm going to be getting you to watch a Scoil na Mara video. And Scoil na Mara is videos made by a lady on beaches around Ardfield, and she talks in one of them about all the different shells that you can find attached to the rocks and the rock pools, and she talks about what they use their shells for. But we know that they use them for their homes, and you'll find out a little bit more detail from her in that video. What you have to do down here then is we're using our senses. So we have 5 senses. We have the sight, hearing, touch, smell and taste. So we're talking about how our 5 senses can be very much alive when we go to the beach. So you must write down one thing that you see at the beach, one thing that you hear at the beach, one thing that you can feel at the beach, one thing that you can smell at the beach, and one thing that you can taste at the beach. Okay? And then this is a very interesting fact that I really, really enjoyed. The Irish word for jellyfish is smuggler roan, which means seal's snot. So I thought that was quite funny because if you think about it, jellyfish are really wibbly wobbly texture. So the Irish word for jellyfish is smuggler roan. So, and it means, if you translate it into English, it means seal's snot. So I thought that was quite funny. Now I'm going to actually include page 77 on today's video as well, okay, because they lend on to each other, okay. So here we're talking about things that are natural and man-made. So we've spoken about this already in the year. Anything that is natural, nature made it, okay. It was made by nature. Humans and people had nothing to do with it being made. Anything that is man-made has been made by humans in factories and things like that, okay. So we've spoken about that already. So what we have to do is, the first thing, sort the things that you would find at the seaside into natural and man-made. So you must come up with some things that are natural that you find at the beach, okay, and you must find some things, you must think of some things that are man-made that you'd find at the beach. And they give you 2 examples, like seaweed, that's natural. Humans don't make that, okay. And the ball, okay, that's made in a factory. It's made of plastic or might be made of rubber, and that is made by humans in a factory, so it is man-made. So maybe come up with 5 natural things and 5 man-made things. 5 things that nature has made and 5 things that humans have made, and that you'd find at the beach. Okay, now what you have to do here then is it says sort the natural things into living and non-living. Okay, so what you have to do here is you have to think of natural things that you find at the beach, the things that you would have included in this column here, and you must say whether they're living or they're non-living. Okay, so if they're living, they grow, they might breathe. If you think of seaweed grows, doesn't it? Okay, seaweed grows and then it can die off. A rock doesn't grow. A rock is a rock. A rock stays the same unless somebody does something to it. Okay, it is not alive. A rock is not alive. Okay, so you must think of things that you can find at the beach that are living and things that are non-living. So like things that, for example, of things that would be non-living would be rock, sand. You might find stones, things like that. Okay, living things, then you have seaweed, you have crabs, you have fish, lots of different things. Okay, all right. So again, 5 of each, please. 5 living things you find at the beach and 5 non-living things you find at the beach. Then it says sort the living things into plants and animals. So we're working with this column now. And again, we are going to sort them into 2 different columns. So all the living things that you thought of, we now have to decide whether they're going to be plants or animals. And they've given us 2 examples here. So an example of a plant is seaweed. An example of an animal is a starfish. What other plants grow at the beach? What other animals live at the beach? So 5 of each, please. Okay? All right. So that's all that you have to do on those 2 pages, page 76 and 77.